everyone, Karis here, and today we are going to be talking about the Modern Love Tarot by Ethany. This is illustrated by Lucy Morningstar. I will leave all of their information in the description box below. This is my absolute favorite deck of all time. You definitely, if you have seen my Instagram at all, you've seen this all over it. I adore this deck. I love the artwork. It's fantastic. And I felt like it was a good time to do a flip through of it on my channel and just show everyone all of the cards. This deck is independently published and it retails for $45 US, and it is, I believe, now available on Amazon. I will leave all of that stuff in the description box below as well, but let's dig into it. So this deck, you can see it's well loved and worn, and I carry it around with me in this box, so it has seen its fair share of action. It is in this magnetically closed flip top box, and here is the guidebook. It is incredibly thick, so we will definitely chat about the guidebook in a bit here, but let's talk about the cards. The first thing you'll see is these gorgeous backs. They have the metallic gold foil on them, and the side, though now incredibly worn from use, are they are gold edged to match the gold foil in the card design. They are on a very sturdy cardstock, definitely high quality. And they do hold up to a lot of use, a lot of rough shuffling. I use this deck often. They are borderless. The art is all the way to the edge on every card, and the title's here at the bottom. That all being said, we're gonna go ahead and zoom you in and take a closer look at each of the individual cards. Okay, so I'm going to chat a little bit through this walkthrough instead of the standard background music that I play, just because I want to talk about some of the things that really stand out to me about this deck. So first up, we have the Fool, and we have a witch who's casting what appears to be, or what we would assume to be, a love spell. Also in the background is the painting of the birth of Venus. So really the birth of love is represented in this card. Next up, we have the Magician. And if you'll notice, on every single card, you will find a heart. But I do love how in this card, they've kind of incorporated a lot of the symbology from the Rider-Waite-Smith card in a way that stands out a little bit less. So she's kind of making that as above, so below gesture. She has a lemniscate on her necklace. She has her tools on the table. So the cup is actually a glass of wine. She's got the pentacle, the wand, and the sword there. Then we have the High Priestess. I love a lot about this card. I really appreciate that it is an older wise woman. And I love how the pillars, she's kind of turned them into bookcases. Then we have the Empress. What I really love about this card is the fact that she has almost become part of the nature around her. Next, we have the Emperor on the chessboard, really playing into that strategy aspect of the Emperor. We have the Hierophant, and this is probably my favorite interpretation of the Hierophant that I've seen in any deck that I've had. The Lovers, oh, what a beautiful card, and this is the image that's on the front of the box and the front of the guidebook. This deck is incredibly diverse and inclusive, and it has tons of representation for different body types, different sexual orientations, different races. It's great to see something like that. And of course we have the puppies. Who doesn't love a good dog? This is a really cool representation of strength. I like that they're kind of protecting her, it seems. Beautiful Hermit card. That is my card of the year this year, and I am digging this interpretation. So next up we have the Wheel of Fortune. This is an awesome card. It just kind of makes you think of the sands of time. Actually, it really makes me think of Days of Our Lives that I watched when I stayed home from school sick when I was a kid. And it's got the Ouroboros. I just think it's really different than the other Wheels of Fortune that I've seen. Justice as a counselor. I love this Hanged Man. I love how he's just waiting for someone to give him a call or a text. This Death card is beautiful. I am blown away by the imagery of the butterflies. I mean, obviously that is one of the best symbols for death and rebirth. But I think it's really cool also how they've incorporated some of the other things like the skull and the sickle. Next we have Temperance, and I love this card because I think it's so fitting, because all I can think about is trying to cook with children and how patient you have to be. And that just, I also love that it's baking, so you're incorporating things into the batter or whatever it is that you're making. The next up we have the Devil, one of my favorite Devil cards. It does hint to that generic meaning of bondage here with the dominatrix, but at the same time it also often to me represents the need to have a little fun. You know, let your wild side out, explore, experiment, have a good time. So I love that for this card. The next step is the Tower, where you have lightning, this explosion in the background, and this sort of barren wasteland that is the Tower. And this guy who has resigned to the fact that he is going to have to start over. Next up, we have the Star. I adore this card. I think about being a kid and going stargazing at night and just how much hope looking up at the beautiful night sky gives me. And I don't think it could capture that any better than it does. Next up, we have the Moon. I like how there's subtle hints of some of the other things that are found on the standard Rider-Waite. So you have the dog and the wolf there in the background, obviously the very large moon, and the water and mountains, of course. The sun, what happiness this card radiates. Judgment. I really like this Judgment card because I feel like often I see Judgment as an interpretation of self-reflection. But on this specific card, what I see is you leaving your past mistakes behind and going forward with like a clearer conscience and a helping hand. And then we have the World. This card is beautiful and I love it. And I also love how it kind of incorporates other cultures into it. Now we are on to the Suit of Cups. I'll try and talk less during the suits, but I can't make any promises like this card. It is breathtaking and one of my favorites of the entire deck. I love the absolute adoration that you see on the faces of these two people. And also the cute little birds up in the tree. Another one of my favorite cards. Look at how fun this one is. They are clearly having a night out on the town, causing a ruckus and having a blast. Next up, we have the Four of Cups. Extremely expressive artwork. Five of Cups. I appreciate how four of the cups are spilled all over the casket. She's clearly grieving, but she's also holding a cocktail because she's just trying to make it through. Next, we have the Six of Cups. Very adorable. The Seven of Cups. The facial expressions alone on these cards are amazing. But, you know, all of these options. But look at that little dog. How cute. I'm fine. The Eight of Cups. Again, these cards are so easy to read. They just feel like they jump out of the card and talk to you. The artwork is very descriptive, and I think it's a great deck to try and learn tarot with. Next, we have the Ten of Cups, the Page, the Knight of Cups, which I actually asked Ethany. She had based this character on Lucifer from the TV show, which I thought was amazing. There are a couple of characters that I picked up throughout the deck that I was like, I think this is based on someone. So this one was based on Lucifer. The Queen of Cups and the King of Cups. On to Pentacles. Next up, we have the Two of Pentacles. I love how there's a little surfer in the background, and I love her pink hair. Three of Pentacles, so teamwork, collaboration. Four of Pentacles. The faces on these cards are just so perfect. Like, you obviously know she's pissed, and you know she's looking at her phone and she's a little embarrassed. She's got, you know, her face is a little flushed. Next, we have the Five of Pentacles, the Six, and the Seven, the Eight. Those cupcakes look delicious. The Nine, this is one of my favorite cards. It is so beautiful, and she is positively glowing with happiness. The Ten of Pentacles. The Page. I just love all the little dogs in here. The Knight. Where's the Queen? I love this apothecary shop. Like, this is so cute. And the King, and this character is based on Nick Offerman. See how he's a woodworker. Then we have the Sword. I love the archway of books here. I think that's awesome. Two of Swords. This is like such a relatable card. Like, you know when you're developing a problem with communication with your spouse or your significant other, and you're just kind of laying in bed and both of you aren't paying any attention to each other, but you're on your phones. Like, this is so relatable. Three of Swords. Four of Swords. This card must be Ethany. Like, it must be, right? It looks like her. And look at how awesome and amazing that pool looks. We are getting a ton of snow where I am, so jealous of sun and sand and water. The Five of Swords, I mean, you can see just the conflict and the sadness that it causes. The Six of Swords. The Seven of Swords. I love this. I always think walk of shame, walk of shame. I know it isn't really the typical meaning for the card, but like every time I see it, that's all that comes into my mind. The Eight of Swords, one of the best depictions of the Eight of Swords right here. And, you know, often when you see the Eight of Swords, there is a person who's blindfolded and they think that they're stuck, but really they aren't. What I love about this card in particular is she thinks she's imprisoned, but this is the lock and she is wearing the key. I think that's perfect. Nine of Swords. And love is burning. The Ten of Swords, so the divorce certificate and all of these swords in kind of the clock, and he's walking away with his wedding ring left on the table. The Page of Swords. The Knight of Swords. The Queen of Swords. I love this interpretation as well. She's standing in the smoke and kind of cutting her way through. The King of Swords. And now we have the Wands. So I love that this is a maypole. The Two of Wands. The Three of Wands. The Four. This is a beautiful card. And the Five. Clearly some tension there. The Six of Wands. Victory. The Seven of Wands. The Eight of Wands. The Nine of Wands. I like this depiction for sure. And the Ten of Wands. One of my favorite depictions of the Ten of Wands as well. She's clearly stressed. She has a lot going on. She's trying to juggle everything. And it is stressful. Page of Wands. Little unicorn and a dragon. Knight of Wands. Queen of Wands. She is such a badass. And finally, the King of Wands. So that was our flip through of the Modern Love Tarot. Because I have worked with this deck quite a lot and I've definitely gotten to know it, I think we're just going to pull one card today and ask the deck to describe its personality, and then we'll just read the guidebook, which has quite a number of interpretations for each card. Because this video is already so long, let's just get into it. First, I'm going to shuffle the cards. This is a little bit larger than a standard tarot size. And the cardstock is very thick, very sturdy. Definitely not as thick as the Star Child Akashic that I have by Danielle Noel. I think that's like 450 GSM. This is definitely not that thick, but it definitely feels very sturdy. It is very easy to riffle shuffle. And of course, very easy to hand over hand shuffle as well. But again, I do have larger hands, so stop it. The card which best describes your personality is the Lovers. This deck is cheeky, you know, cheeky. So let's talk about the guidebook for a little bit here. So again, it is very thick. It's full color. It has an introduction, some specific love tarot spreads. What's the future of my relationship? Will they come back? Finding the one. Is the relationship over? And the self-love tarot spread, which I really like this one. Then you go into the majors. And each section or each card has a full page of the card. It has the title, some keywords, a general love meaning, single and loving it, ready for love or dating, committed relationship, struggling relationship, or the end of a relationship. So then we will just kind of fast forward here to the minors. Each suit has its title page, and then it goes right into the cards, and it has meanings for each individual card for these 6 categories. I think it's really great that she's done that for the minors. The minors often get overlooked when it comes to guidebooks. So I appreciate that the guidebook is inclusive of the minors as well. And then in the back here, There is just about the creator and about the artist. And again, I'm going to link their information in the description box below. So let's go ahead and read about the Lovers. Partnership, choices, love. Obviously, this deck's personality is all about love. Of course it is. I just think it's hilarious that this is the card that came out, and I wish I would have drawn it on screen because I definitely did not pull this card out. So the Lovers, general love meaning. The Lovers is the most iconic card for love in tarot. It represents human relationships and the love we can find when connecting with others. In a love reading, it means things are about to get juicy. If you aren't already in a romantic relationship, one's on the horizon. It's a significant card in the Modern Love deck, so when it comes up, pay attention to all the cards around it because there will be important messages there. Single and loving it. Just because you're single doesn't mean that you can't have a wonderful and fulfilling sex life. Sex with no strings attached or a friend with benefits arrangement may just be what the love doctor ordered. If you aren't the kind of person who can share a bed with someone and not have feelings, try out a new sex toy. Orgasms are good for the body and soul. Ready for love or dating. The Lover's card arriving in a reading speaks to all the options that are available to you. This is not the time to settle. Don't get exclusive with the first person you meet if you're worried there's no one else out there for you. Be honest that you're dating around, and then allow time to show you who's worth your undivided attention. Committed relationship. The Lovers delivers the message of ensuring the values that you have in your relationship are being recognized and reciprocated. It's often the small things that show a person you value them, and they go a long way to making a long-term relationship successful. Struggling relationship. The Lovers is a card of choice. When a relationship is in a rut, the Lovers represent all of the choices being made and whether they are moving you closer together or drifting you apart. Both parties have to make conscious decisions to make things better. It can't be one-sided. The end. Don't rush into another relationship because you're afraid to be on your own. This is a perfect time for you to heal and get to know yourself again. You've changed since being in your recent relationship, so allow yourself the time to process that before you involve someone else. And there you have it. That is our flip through of the Modern Love Tarot, Exploring the Many Facets of Love by Ethany and Lucy Morningstar. I will leave the details for this deck in the description box below so you can pick up a copy for yourself. I do not think you'll regret it. If you at all connected with the cards in this video, they have been amazing to work with and they have really deepened my tarot practice. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. You can also turn on the bell so that you can get notifications every time I upload a new video. I also have a blog where I talk about tarot and witchy related things. I do some fun tags, and generally I like to post twice a week. I'll leave that in the description box below as well. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.